Have you ever left an IEP meeting and replayed everything in your head and said to yourself, did that come out the right way? As a teacher, you are often the person who knows that student best day by day. You are the one who can provide the most direct data, and you influence how that team sees that child. But here is the reality. Even well-intentioned statements can be misunderstood or even create legal concerns. So today I'm going to walk you through 10 things that teachers should never say in an IEP meeting, and more importantly, what should be said instead. Hi, I'm Dr. D, and I've spent the last 38 years working in the area of special education, and this channel is dedicated to provide tips and tricks for teachers, parents, and administrators. So let's start off with the top 10 things of what not to say. Number 1, don't say, I don't see that in my classroom. That's a problem, because what it immediately does is makes the parents feel that you've just dismissed everything they've just said, especially if they see very different behaviors at home. And it also ignores the fact that behavior can vary by environment, and students may mask that at school. Our struggles may show up in other obvious ways that are least obvious ways. So instead, what you might need to say is, I haven't observed that yet in my setting. Can we compare data across environments? For example, a parent may report meltdowns during homework, and you don't see that at school. Instead of dismissing it, explore task demands that are part of that homework. Think about student fatigue at the end of the day, or maybe what differences in support the parent gives than what you're giving in the classroom. Number 2, don't say they're just lazy. That shifts the responsibility onto the student and ignores the possibility that they have executive functioning deficits, that they might have processing delays, maybe there's some emotional or behavioral challenges. So instead, say, I'm noticing difficulty with task initiation and follow through. So let's explore some supports. So reframe lazy is often a student who's overwhelmed, or they have a skill deficit, or maybe they're avoiding doing it just due to the frustration that they're encountering. Number 3, don't say they can do it when they want to. Now, why is that a problem? Well, this suggests that the student is choosing not to perform, when in reality, performance may be inconsistent, which is often a hallmark of a disability. Instead, what you might want to say is, performance varies. Let's identify what conditions support success. For example, you maybe have a student who completes work during one-on-one support, but not independently. That's a support need, not a motivational issue. Number 4, don't say, I don't have time to do that. Now, this may actually be true, but it introduces compliance concerns, lack of implementation fidelity, and it can make parents feel that you think their child is a burden. So instead, what you may want to say is, let's problem solve how this support can be implemented effectively in the classroom. Here's a tip that shifts from a barrier to a solution mindset. Number 5, do not say, it's not my job. Now, why is that a problem? Well, IEPs are legally binding documents that apply to all educators working with that student. And if you make that statement, what you're signaling is lack of collaboration and lack of ownership. So what you may want to say instead is, let's clarify roles here so we can ensure consistency across all settings. For example, if a behavior support is included, then everyone interacting with that student plays an important part in that role. Number 6, don't say, oh, they're passing, so they're fine. Now, why is that a problem? Well, grades can hide. Grades can hide things like heavy reliance on supports that are given. It can hide modified expectations. Grades can also hide foundational skill gaps that the student may have. So instead of saying that, why don't you say, let's review progress toward IEP goals and skill development? An example might be a student passes reading, but still has difficulty and they're reading significantly below grade level. Number 7, do not say, all my students struggle with that, because what that does is it minimizes that student's individual needs. And yes, many other students may be struggling, but not all students have a documented disability requiring specialized support. So instead say, well, let's examine how this impacts this student compared to his or her peers. Number 8, don't say, they just need to try harder. Now, why is that a problem? Well, effort's not always the issue. This ignores the cognitive load of the task that you're asking them to do. It ignores the processing challenges they may have, such as maybe fluid reasoning. It also negates their emotional regulation. You're not thinking about that as well. So instead, let's identify supports that will increase both their engagement and their success, because what that does, it reframes effort increases when tasks are accessible, supports are appropriate, and students feel successful. Number 9, do not say that accommodation isn't fair to other students. Now, why is that a problem? Well, this reflects a misunderstanding of equity versus equality. IEPs are designed to provide access, not sameness. So instead say, this accommodation helps ensure the student has access to the curriculum. An example might be extended time. That is not an advantage, it levels the playing field. And number 10, I didn't read the IEP. Well, this immediately undermines your credibility, and it might also signal non-compliance, impact trust with the parents. So instead say, I reviewed the IEP and I have some observation about how it's working in practice. Here's a pro tip. Even a quick review before the meeting takes place makes a huge difference. Here's what I want you to remember. As a teacher, you're just not reporting information in an IEP meeting. You are shaping how the team understands that student. And your words can either open doors to support or shut down meaningful conversation. So before your next meeting, ask yourself, am I being student-centered? Am I using data and not exceptions or assumptions? Am I contributing to collaboration? Because when you shift your language, you shift the entire tone of the meeting.